You're watching the Tesla Life, live with your host, Mark Tugman.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tesla Life number 327, this fourth day of October 2023. And joining us as regular, we have Mr. Casey Green. Now, Casey's going to be quiet for a little while, so we'll just let him sleep. But also joining us as regular, Mr. Patrick Connor from the West Coast. How are you today, sir?
I am good. Hello, Tesla Nation. I just hit a milestone in our new Model Y yesterday, crossed the 1 kilomile mark. Kilomile doesn't roll off.
The 1 kilomile? What's a kilomile?
It's down here where we speak Fred. It's
okay.
Yes,
kilomile.
1,000 miles.
1,000 miles.
Yep.
Well, that's much better accumulation of miles than your Model 3, how it started.
That's true. The first month of the Model 3 was just sitting there saying, don't look at it too hard. Because I don't waiting
You wanted
PPF.
that PPF on that car before it went anywhere. Absolutely.
Yes, and I'm glad I got it because in our garage it's pretty tight fit, and it ended up rubbing up against one of the cabinets. Well, okay, so that just rubbed on the PPF, not the paint. So yeah, I can just go get that PPF swapped out, and no harm, no foul.
Absolutely, absolutely. There he is, Mr. Casey Green joins us from the East Coast. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing all right. Spent a lot of time on YouTube, just debunking myths on TeslaSemi. So
you mean people on the internet are wrong? That never happens.
Someone was wrong on the internet, and I had to fix it.
That is a full-time job, my friend.
Casey, that is more than a full-time job. You could
Absolutely.
You can run into those people for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish there was like some penalty for just outright lying.
I'm gonna take away all your internet points.
Like just a score, like this person lies all the time. They got a negative 7,000 on truthfulness.
Yeah, the only difference, the problem is that people, truthfulness isn't what's actually true. It's what agrees with their mythos or their feelings, and not actual facts. That's too hard. Feelings are easy. So I don't like you. You're a liar. That's not how it works, but that's how it works.
That's right.
Hey, I wanted to give a quick shout out to the people that attended our National Drive Electric Week event this past Saturday here in Waterloo Region. It was a fantastic day. We had perfect weather, and we had 110 EVs register and over 330 people register. It was a great event. We had a lot of traffic. A lot of different cars, different models. I think we had 32 different models on site. And it was a fabulous day. We had a Rivian show up. That was kind of cool. Haven't seen one of those yet. And we had
in Canada.
We had 22 Model 3s. We had 11 Model Ys. We had 6 Xs and 6 Ss. So yeah, Tesla is alive and well here in Southern Ontario for sure.
So the Rivian that you had up there, was it from the States or is it like an early?
It was from British Columbia, where they're actually being sold now. So this person was doing a cross-Canada journey and decided to check into our little Endu event and show off his Rivian to a bunch of people who hadn't seen it yet. So
that's not a short drive from British Columbia to Waterloo.
No, it's not. It's a long drive.
That's more than one charge.
Yes, indeed.
The good thing is you guys have a decent charge network on the main routes.
Well, yeah, and there's that certainly was they had some issues because of course a Rivian is not on the NACS system as of yet. So
2024.
That's right. Like everybody else.
Is right. Is Electrify Canada as bad as Electrify America?
Electrify Canada has its issues. Yes, there are issues with it. So keep in mind it's the same equipment that's in the US, right? It's just that on different utilities are running them. But
Right.
definitely those issues still exist in the equipment that we saw in the U.S. So
Yeah, and probably slightly harsher conditions.
yeah,
Right.
a little colder.
So
Yep.
do you guys just like not drive the Busy Forks, the people who bought it there? Because like you can't charge below freezing, and you guys have a little bit of that there.
Yeah, we have quite a bit of below freezing. So
this is my summer car. It's a Toyota.
It's something that you have to keep in mind depending on the vehicle that you have. But there are, charging below zero certainly works on the Tesla network.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
that's not an issue.
And to be fair, Toyota did update their guidance to say it's slower, so maybe not possible, versus just you can't do it.
Which car said you can't do it?
The BV.
Okay.
And
That's a silly name. That name that just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's just whatever they call it.
And the Subaru follow along.
Altera.
Yeah, exactly. So, it was a great event on Saturday. We appreciate those that came out. Just wanted to have a thank you at the beginning of the show. Yeah. Well, let's get into
since we're doing that, our event is next Sunday, the 8th.
Sunday.
That's right.
Drive electric.
Yes. Yes, and it's at Tesla on Macadam, so it's at the Tesla Service Center in Portland.
Very good.
So come check it out. Yeah,
very good. Well, let's get into the news.
Do this.
Sunday.
Yes, indeed. Wanted to, I guess the first story goes to Patrick about Autopilot.
Oh, yes. Okay, so Tesla Autopilot trial begins in California, and it could be groundbreaking. So this comes to us from Tesla Roddy.
Oh, that kind of trial.
Yeah. So this trial, it started last week, so late last month, and they've started with opening arguments. It's in a California courtroom. It's stemming from a death and 2 injuries. So, and they're suing Tesla, accusing Autopilot of causing the accident. Micah Lee's Tesla Model 3 suddenly veered off a Los Angeles highway at 65 miles per hour and struck a palm tree. The suit, which was filed by 2 passengers and Lee's estate, claims. So the crash occurred 4 years ago in 2019. 2 passengers, one of whom was an 8-year-old boy, were seriously injured. The suit accuses Tesla of knowing that Autopilot and other safety features were defective when it sold the Model 3 to Lee. So just a little more background and then we can discuss it. Tesla claims that Lee had consumed alcohol before getting behind the wheel and said it cannot confirm whether Autopilot was engaged when the accident occurred. There was a similar lawsuit that was decided in April of this year, and the California court awarded 0 damages and acquitted Tesla of all wrongdoing in that case. So that was a major victory for Tesla, and we'll see how this one turns out. There you go. There's the.
I mean, right there at the top, operating inebriated.
Right, but he was not. He was below the legal limit. So.
Okay. Well.
Yes. So not.
But again, the safety features aren't guaranteed to actually activate. They are a bonus. They might help you if something happens. They're not. They're not billed as something. I mean, the active safety features, the passive, yes, they'll always work, but the active safety features are not guaranteed.
Right. Yes.
In any way.
Right. The car does. It still has a steering wheel and pedals, and you're still, as the driver, expected to use them. And yeah.
Right.
And
now, had this happened at 34 or less miles per hour on a mapped road in a Mercedes or Honda in the correct places, then they might have a point, because then the auto manufacturer has assumed liability. But in perfect weather. But this wasn't that. You're always at charge of Autopilot, right. FSD, enhanced Autopilot, all that.
Tesla only sells a level 2 system. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah. Isn't that the main point here? Is that you're responsible for the car. You're responsible as to how it drives. You're responsible to steer it, brake it, accelerate it. It is all under your control, and legally, that's your job to do.
Yes.
And of course, anybody else that's driving a vehicle that has autopilot has to play by those same rules as well. This is not something that a certain person is exempt from. Anybody that buys the car is responsible and legally responsible to operate that vehicle. And it's their legal responsibility to keep everybody safe in the car. They're the ones that are operating it. You know, yes, at this point, autopilot is a enhancement. It's a add-on to the vehicle's abilities, but you're still required to babysit it at all times. And I don't understand how that gets lost in a lawsuit just because they named the package autopilot. Like, I don't get it.
Well, I want to add that since AP1, when you try to activate the features for the first time, it doesn't actually work because you got to go into the settings and turn it on. The minute you hit the on button, there's a disclaimer that tells you what you're expected to do. And then every time you turn it on, pay attention, keep your hands on the wheel, blah, blah, blah. If you stop doing that, the car wants to start shutting down. Hey, your hands aren't on the wheel. I'm done. Peace out, yo. Or you went too fast. I'm done. Peace out. There should be no confusion on this. And I'm willing to wager that when the time comes that Tesla is willing to assume any liability in this, there will be a similar... just like we saw when we first got FSD Beta from a Navigate on Autopilot, there was a Navigate on Autopilot from Autopilot. There were additional stops and checks that you had to go through and read the new agreement, check the new box. It's going to be that same way when they say, hey, we're going to adopt Honda and Mercedes' liability method right here. All right, you acknowledge that only when the light is purple is Tesla liable for what's going on. If it's blue or gray, it's on you. Something to that effect.
Right. Yeah, there are a lot of level 2 drive assist features out there, and I'm sure Tesla's not the only one being sued, because whenever somebody dies, it's tragic, and the family wants to blame somebody, and it's a lot easier to blame some faceless company than it is your loved one. So I'm not surprised by it. I assume it's going to have the same results as the previous case.
Yeah, and I do want to add that not all ambulance chasers and failing to understand that their loved ones are fallible. Some of it is, in order to get that insurance payout on the life insurances, the insurance company is going to sue Tesla, and they are notoriously cheap bastards. So they're gonna try every angle they can, and they're going to do it in their client's name. So it's going to make them look super stupid and super callous.
Yeah, there was some news story going around a couple years ago about the worst aunt in the world, where she was suing her nephew. Because he gave her an over-enthusiastic hug and hurt her back. And then if you actually dig into the story, no, she was trying to file an insurance claim, and the insurance required that she file that lawsuit. Then it sued the insurance company. It was just ridiculous. So sometimes the headlines are not actually the whole story. Sometimes you actually have to read the story, and sometimes even that's not the whole story.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying that this wasn't the case here, but I'm saying that if we give them the benefit of doubt, that is a possibility.
Yes.
But if we listen to like all the missed pedal applications, oh no, I'm sure I was hitting the brake and it just rammed some wall. Okay.
Yeah, like the unintended acceleration lawsuits. Like it's all over the place. Like there are many people that want to blame anybody that they can for, obviously a tragic thing that happened. But a lot of this blame lies within the driver because they are the one that's ultimately responsible. There was that story about the Model S that went off the road in a subdivision and slammed into a tree and killed both occupants. And it's like,
which one? Oh, the old people. Sorry, the elderly gentleman.
The out testing it, showing a friend, and again, the first thing, blame Autopilot, and it's like, no, that's not the case. In fact, in that case, Autopilot wasn't even engaged. But it again, all these issues relate to the driver, the person that is legally responsible for the safe operation of that vehicle. And that's ultimately where I believe this case is going to. But again, it seems that anybody can, anyone can sue. It's just whether or not the court listens to that or looks at precedent.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait for the day the cars can actually drive themselves, because I don't know, 100,000 people die every year from auto accidents or whatever the number is. It's a huge number, and it's in some age groups. It's one of the highest causes of death. So it's not easy to get there, but we're all hoping for level 5 any day now. Come on, we need it.
Right. So Kenny, at this point, it's still on you, and we've seen a couple cases where somebody's like trying to use FSD and it's pulling into a parking lot, and normally it would go straight, and all of a sudden it decides I'm going to go veer into the traffic on the left, and it's just unfortunate. Tesla says, yeah, we had nothing to do with that. Why would you have it on in the parking lot? And I assume if you had it on anywhere else, they'd say, oh, you didn't make sure it kept proper following distance, or should have had a stronger grip on the wheel, blah, blah, blah. They're not going to step
Well, what about your instance, Casey, when you were on that road that was on a bridge? And, during the early stages of Tesla beta software, it veered towards the side of the bridge.
It did.
If you were not paying attention and you were not ready to grab the wheel, that would have been your fault too.
Oh yeah, we would have gone over. We had enough momentum that no matter what, it wouldn't have been stopped. But I had my hands on the wheel and it jerked, and I stiffened my grip, and it let go, and then I corrected it in the feet that I had left and turned it back on again.
Wow. Yeah, a lot of the people that looked at FSD beta viewed it as a party trick that they could use in any way, shape, or form that they wanted to. Not many people took the serious warning that you had to check off when you accepted it. Not many people had actually thought or realized that they were going to have to pay more attention to the operation of the vehicle when it was on FSD beta than they do when they drive themselves. Because
the other day, mine was following a work truck, and the work truck had a ridiculous trailer ball hanging out the back, and for some reason, even on the middle setting, mine wants to just tailgate people. And we were at a stop, and it just kept going and going. So I pushed the brake because I didn't want a trailer ball through my radiator.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I have an example with FSD beta that just happened yesterday of it doing something excellent. So I had it on FSD beta. I was going to the store, and it was turning into the driveway to the parking lot to that store, and there were 2 cars that were leaving. Then the first one was where they were supposed to be on their side of the road. The one behind them was in the middle, like taking half of my lane for whatever reason. And so I start pulling in, our FSD beta starts pulling in, and it sees the car there. It slows down. It creeps forward. It folded the mirrors in, and then snuck past, going like 4 miles an hour, and then folded them back out, and then went over to the parking area. And I was just like, wow! And of course, I'm ready. My hands are ready. This is my new car. I don't even want to get. If anything was danger, I was going to stomp on the brake. My foot was just hovering there, ready to hit the brake, but I let it go. And since it was going slow, and it veered over to the far side, and it cleared, and the stupid woman in that PT Cruiser with her cigarette hanging out, taking over half my lane. I'm just like, what the hell are you doing, lady? And then even when I was creeping by, she didn't even scoot. Oh
wow.
Oblivious.
And also, I have one of them today as well. Not to suggest that all of my experiences have been white knuckle. Today, baby was making choking noises in the back seat. Hello, baby. And there's a guy in a tricycle in the middle of the street, and it's like, what do I do? I'm ready to just stop in the middle of the road, get my hands on the brake, or my foot on the brake rather. And before I could do anything, the car decides it's going to veer into the empty lane next to us, avoiding tricycle man. And
she's got a phone call. She's got important business to conduct.
Grandma hung up. And so it got in avoiding the guy on the tricycle, and thankfully she was not choking on anything, and all was good. Okay, baby. Okay. Phone back.
Oh, she's upset that grandma hung up. I'm sorry. I think I would be too. But it's there's a lot of that out there of people deciding not to pay attention to what the warnings are, and as it goes along, and as it gets into more autonomy, those warnings are still going to be there for quite some time, because obviously Tesla can't police the 4 million, 5 million vehicles on the road all by themselves. The occupants, the ones that agree to those terms, are going to have to do it, and that's the way it's going to be for quite some time. So if you're not interested in paying attention, don't use it. Stay away from it. Just let yourself drive, and leave the supposed party trick for something else. So
this also applies to Smart Summon. If the car decides to run over an insurance agent's car and actually makes contact, you're liable.
Yeah.
So let's go to the button, and it stopped right there. We had this much room left. That was the last time I used Smart Summon until they say that they've done something to it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jeff.
The dog is barking like crazy because I'm getting a delivery, and you know what it is? It is a luggage rack for our Model Y that I got when Andrew used my referral code, and I got referral credits, and so I spent those like 3 or 4 days ago to get this the luggage rack for the Y, and it just arrived.
Look at that! Look at that!
Yes.
Congratulations!
Real-time update. Thank you, Andrew.
Well, let's. Oh, the bird hair!
You got the bird hair.
So my wife was like, "How does it smell?" I'm like, "Oh,
keep it closed."
If you want her to, if you want to let her see what it smells like, do that outside.
No, I told her squirt it on a piece of toilet paper or something to see if everybody was exaggerating or if she'll like it. And she sprayed it on herself, and then she hated me for like 10, 15 minutes.
Oh,
2 showers later.
Right. I was like, I didn't say to test it on yourself. I was very clear about getting a piece of paper.
Yeah, it's still your fault. Welcome to marriage.
Well, let's move on. We've got a little bit of looks like some good news here, Casey, about some Cybertruck apparel. What's this?
Yeah, so do you got a photo of it, or here's one?
I can get a
photo.
The
Cybertruck team, the launch team, allegedly, is receiving their launch team memorabilia, which means to us that it's imminent, doesn't it? I mean,
yeah.
How early do you want to have the stuff ready? The Tesla is kind of leaky at once it gets to scale. And obviously, the design team and the engineering teams they're tight ship, but the more people, the more it spreads. So once you got your launch team memorabilia, I mean, how far could it really be?
Right. We don't have an official launch date yet, as far as I know. Okay.
I'm still saying by Halloween, and
yeah. So the rumors are it's going to be the 26th of this month, but that's just a rumor.
Just a rumor.
Tesla likes to do things on Thursdays for whatever reason.
Right. except for the financial stuff, which happens on Wednesday. Is that 2 Wednesdays from now or next Wednesday?
Yeah, 2 Wednesdays from now.
Okay, yeah. So 2 Wednesdays from now, we'll be doing their earnings call.
Yep.
Yeah, so I would say Thursday or like a Tuesday, for sure. But they missed out on Cyber Monday.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
So launch team apparel has been sent out to I guess some employees or some locations, and so that's got to be a good sign. Like you got to be getting close if launch team apparel has arrived.
Yep. And I contend that that normal people will have the truck by the end of the year. Not a lot of normal people, but like not special Tesla mega investors or employees. Yeah, I'd only be 2 of them.
Right.
There'll be more delivered than 2, but it might only be 2 real people. Like, not that the others aren't real, but like salt of the earth people.
People who were there at the launch event, I think, who ordered it that night, are probably going to be the ones that have priority for delivery.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a group of employees still. Like, I think another group, maybe a few people that ordered it early, but I don't know. They're taking a longer time with this than I anticipated after seeing the RC models on the road. But it's we're getting close. We're only 3 months away from the end of the year, but it's got to come out soon. The thought here is, I think they've got to get it released by the end of this month. This would be my guess.
Because they said Q3. Somebody did, and they missed that.
Yep.
The other thing that we haven't seen yet is the EPA certification, the conformity that they're obligated to the U.S. So they legally can't sell it yet, assuming that that's not something that's been put out with a gag on it. But every other vehicle they've released, we've seen it before the car's on sale. So I don't imagine this will be under wraps any more than those were.
Yeah, I thought they could ask for that paperwork to be held from the public for 90 days when they submit it. So I think they can submit it, and it might be submitted last week. We wouldn't know if they were able to put that 90-day hold on it.
And we have seen a lot of release candidates. A lot of them have been actually built and shipped to different parts of the country.
Right,
so
car carriers hauling them, 6 of them. We've seen a couple of those.
Yeah. So obviously they're working on. They could be working on a number of different regulations with all these different units that have been shipped to different parts of the U.S. So that's they could definitely be just aligning all the ducks to release them. So hopefully that is
the one of the crash test models in a tent outside. Was it Fremont or outside of Austin?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I saw that same picture. They've definitely done some crash testing, and
yeah. For all people who say it's going to be indestructible, I told you this is a company that prides themselves on safety. That's not going to be indestructible.
Exactly.
It's going to be exactly destructible as it needs to be on sale.
Yeah. Right. You can build in crumple zones. You can. It's easy to make something collapse.
They want it indestructible to shopping carts, and it'll probably do that. But
yes,
and 9 mil on the body.
And ball bearings on the window.
Right.
Well, they didn't show us that they could do that.
Rubber mallets. Feet on the side. Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. Here's a good question. At the launch event, will they do that ball bearing window thing again? To show that they fixed it, or will they not?
Elon's pride was hurt.
that would be great PR to actually. Yeah. But they need to reverse it. They need to throw the ball bearing first, then hit it with a mallet.
Right.
And then it won't get those.
Use a different unit than you've been testing on all day.
Yeah. It's something that they knew that they put some hairline cracks in it, and that's why it broke with the ball bearing. So throw the ball bearing first. Maybe. Do you think they should let
Franz do it?
Franz throw it again, or should they get somebody else to throw it?
He's got the aim for it.
Get a skinny intern who can't throw it right.
Because you don't want to just throw the ball and it not hit. That would be.
So even if it breaks again, it's good PR. It's going to get press either way.
Yeah.
So
then you don't have to worry about your car getting shot. Clearly, it's not bulletproof because they never said bulletproof glass. They said armor glass and bulletproof skin to 9 mil.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be a bad idea to shoot at it too during a demo. That would not be a good thing to do.
Yeah, you just show video of that.
Hey, hold my beer. Watch this.
No, that's not a thing to do.
No.
But oh man. Next, here's a cool story. eBay Motors published a list of the quickest selling vehicles on the used car listing. And turns out Model 3 is the quickest selling used vehicle on the eBay Motors marketplace. So not a surprise. People are looking to buy this car all the time. And of course, what's great is with 5 million vehicles on the road, a number of them are now becoming used vehicles and are being sold a second or possibly third time. So that's fabulous for people that are waiting for car prices to drop somewhat so they can get involved in this. Getting a good used vehicle is a great way to enter the EV market, and it's a great way to enter the Tesla market. We did see an insane price adjustment during the pandemic, where we had really high used prices because, of course, people were having trouble getting the new ones. But at this point, it started to settle down, and the prices are starting to look more like used prices. So that will mean that people down the line will be able to get themselves a good used vehicle at a reduced price and still be able to enjoy the benefits of owning an electric vehicle. So that's good news all the way around.
Want to feel a little old? The oldest Model 3s you can buy, the employee models, are now 6 years old.
Yeah. Oh, Mark, thanks, Casey, for helping us out feeling old. We really appreciate that.
I went poking around on eBay Motors, and there was a Model 3 on there for $18,000. I'm like, wow, that would be that's a good deal. And obviously I don't know the particulars on that one. It could be a horrible deal. Maybe it's trashed. I don't know. But if you look, you can find a deal, and that's a good price for to get into an EV, something that can use the supercharger network. You don't have to wait till 2025 to get NACS. Yeah, if that deal was around when we were shopping for our teen, they might have that instead of the Chevy Spark.
Yep.
Yeah.
Here's another tip. If you are perusing the forums, maybe the Model 3 or Model Y forums on Facebook or other social media, if you see someone that's trading in their car to get a new Tesla, why not send them a note and say, what are you doing with the old one? And it's a way to get in quick, and maybe because we know that Tesla lowballs
I was about to say that.
Their cars, right? They lowball it. So being able to offer that person $1,000 or $2,000 more may sway them to the point where they'll sell you the used car because they found someone. The whole problem with buying or selling a used car is finding a buyer and not going to be, you're not going to be led around, through the typical people don't show up or aren't really interested or kicking the tires or just wants to go for a test drive. This is a way that someone knows that you're interested because you're on the forum, you're a registered member, and you reached out to them. So that's another way of doing it.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Not just Sturgis is asking when I think that I'll get my Cybertruck. I'm gonna say if everything goes perfectly smoothly, I might be driving that thing by the summertime. But again, I waited till the next morning to do the reservation, so it could be as late as Christmas or sometime in 2025 when everybody gets the NACS board.
Well, let's move on. And this is a kind of interesting supercharger story. What's this about, Casey?
So if you tuned in on Sunday, you saw me and Patrick talking about this one because have you got the picture ready there, Mark?
Mr. Supercharger, we definitely got to go to Casey for this one.
I will get it ready.
So we spy shotted not we personally, but the community.
Wasn't you?
It was not me. A few Hyundai vehicles.
Being humble, it was.
Kia vehicles lined up at the superchargers and said they were going to charge, but with the charge port doors closed and everything. One of them is not even on sale yet. If you look at this Kia, it's not on sale yet. So
is that like that's like a 3-row SUV possibly?
Is that a Kia EV9 maybe?
Yeah, it's either EV9 or the 7.5. I don't remember the small one, but the 9 was the big one. So this was a spy shot. So it was taken with like a phone or something, and it came out great. And then Patrick pointed out that this looks that good. What if you had the professional photography gear, the airbrush, and all of that, how would that look? That's going to look good because they're professionals. Yeah.
So
like
this is San Clemente, California.
Yeah. Yeah. And
actually, I stopped at that supercharger once.
It was
going
cool.
up from San Diego, and that was one of the best superchargers ever because it was so convenient with the.
Was that at a mall?
Yeah.
They have it. I played giant chess there while we were waiting for the car to charge.
So the vehicles they had there on site for the Reddit post were the Ioniq 5, Ioniq 6, and the Kia EV9, as well as the Genesis GV60. So, like I said, I couldn't tell if it was the big one or not because the EV6 and the Ioniq 5 are much bigger than you'd expect when you get up on them in person. They're small SUVs, small crossovers. But when you look at pictures of them, they look like small cars. And so I couldn't tell if that was the big SUV or the small one. It was the big one.
Yeah.
The EV9. Cool.
So it looks like there's some testing going on, right? Looks like we might hear an announcement from Hyundai. That would be interesting.
Join the NACS instead of thinking about
it. So who has not announced yet? Has Nissan announced?
Nissan has announced. Leaf is left out in the cold, and then the stuff that's out today gets adapters, and then some future car gets the native ports.
Okay.
So we've got the Germans. Mercedes, I think, said they're thinking about it. Volkswagen hasn't said anything yet.
Nothing.
But,
oh wow, that's surprising.
But the Electrify America and Electrify Canada have joined, and not the Supercharger Coalition, but the NACS Coalition, and Honda begrudgingly joined. So we've got the Koreans. Lucid has said its plug is a plug. Let us know when you got 900 volts. So that's still saying something. There's not many left.
Yeah, I can understand why you might not want to Osborne yourself too early, but it's the ship has sailed, so it's
not Osborning him.
Yeah, right. So yeah,
I don't want to carry an adapter for the next 10 years.
Exactly.
I think that some of the manufacturers that haven't announced may be starting to get blowback from their customers.
Oh yeah.
When they're saying everybody else is switching to this, are you going to leave us stranded? Like, come on! Like we want the choice of being able to charge at multiple places as well.
Right. Like, here's your darn adapters. It's going to take you 3 hours to charge. Enjoy the Tesla Supercharger network from care of Lucid. That's what your customers are asking for, and then there may be a reason. So what if it charges slow? If it's the only charger around?
And I wouldn't ever call Tesla supercharging slow compared to some of the Datamo and other stuff. And
because their up converter sucks. It was not designed to handle that particular voltage.
Okay.
Yeah.
A car that expensive should be able to handle it all without.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Kia does it a little better than the Lucid.
Well, rolling along with more supercharger news. Casey, you're not from this area, but this is.
I did go through another one of the same name.
So this is a story out of Richmond, British Columbia. Canada has got its largest supercharger, and 40 is the number of stalls in Richmond. Richmond, for those that don't know, is a suburb of Vancouver, British Columbia. So it's in the suburbs. There is a ton of urbanites around this area. And of course, charging throughout Vancouver, Greater Vancouver is sorely needed because of the growing amount of Teslas that populate the greater city. So as we've seen in many metropolitan areas in Canada, the uptake of the Tesla has been large, and Tesla is trying to keep up with the demand for those chargers. And similar to what's happened in the United States, Tesla has signed a deal with the Canadian government allowing access to other vehicles starting in 2024, where they can access these a number of different chargers, a route of 700 and some chargers that they've already laid out, stretching from east to west. So it's another group that can be used for that. So that's good news. The more, the better.
USCS. It's called NACS. Come on,
right?
You know,
It's not.
Mexico. Let's go.
Would you call it USACs? It's NACS, not USACs.
USSC.
Cool.
Exactly. So good news, more chargers. Let's keep them rolling. Love to see those added every week at the supercharger.info website. Fun to watch.
This next one might not be what you think it is.
That's right.
Does this mean I can drive to Whistler Village now all the way? And
that's right. Yep.
Yeah. All right.
Patrick,
what's the next
you got this story about the Model Y. What's happening?
Oh, yes. Model Y. Okay. So there's been an update. And of course, the first thing that we all say is this Project Juniper? And the answer's maybe,
no.
but not, but a little bit. So, okay, let's cover. This is from Tesla Roddy, Simon Alvarez. Tesla rolls out Model Y update with ambient lights and new wheels in China. So the Tesla China has released a minor update to the Model Y in China. The vehicle features include small but notable changes to the interior and exterior, allowing Tesla China to start the fourth quarter on a strong note. So what did they change? There's a new ambient lighting in the form of an LED strip that spans the dashboard. So this is a lot like what we saw in Project Highland, and which is why I'm saying it's got some of it, right? So it's
yeah.
And then the iconic wood trim in the black interior has now been replaced, and I think that's also like the only is it like white or gray? I don't know if you have the picture in there.
Yeah, it's kind of gray.
Yeah,
yeah,
kind of looks off-white.
And same piece for both colors.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. So yeah, it goes with either. And most importantly, the base price of the Model Y in China remains the same at RMB 263,900, or in USD, that's 36,100. There's one more thing to share here. It should be noted that this is most likely not the highly anticipated Project Juniper update. The Model Y has been mentioned that we've talked about before. Details on Project Juniper are scarce, but expected that it will be a lot like the Model 3 Highland in the interior and exterior. There you go.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so it still has stocks.
Right. The wheel covers match now too. Instead of being that like bright color against the dark gray, it's now like nearly black and a dark gray.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks really good on the black paint.
Indeed.
Yeah, it's and of course, as Tesla runs out of stock of some of the old components for the Model Y, they're of course are not going to be buying the old stock units if they know that Project Juniper's coming. And if they can buy the new parts and just kind of integrate them as they're going along, it's going to make financial sense to do it that way, as opposed to buying a bunch of older, components that are not going to be part of Juniper. So it makes complete sense that little bits of changes here and there may get introduced as Juniper gets closer to the finish line.
Yeah. So we've got a similar story coming up later. But one other thing to note here is this Chinese model, not only is it slightly updated, it's also slightly faster at 5.9 seconds.
You know how one of the things we say on the show is if you see what you like, get it before it's gone. My guess is that this version of the Model Y is not going to last very long because, like Mark said, they're probably, okay, we still have stocks, so we'll keep using those. And we've run out of these interiors, so we'll start putting in the new interior because we already have those. So you're in this rare moment of time where they are mixing and matching these two. And I mean, honestly, this is the interior LED lighting looks awesome. I would love to have that, but I don't want to give up the stocks. So like this is in that perfect in between mix and match stage that I wish I could have, ordered. Yeah. So
Patrick has already ordered one in China. One is now being put on a boat and is heading towards the USA. So I hope it doesn't get caught in that container problem that those other Teslas had a problem with.
Here's my car and 3 Roadsters. Nice.
This isn't the whole new interior. It's literally just the dash, cover and the light in it. It's not the light all the way around the cabin, and it's not the new cabin. So they probably ran out of dash covers. Here's some new ones.
Exactly. Right.
Next, Casey's got a story about the Cybertruck and the special event that's going on.
Ooh.
Yeah, so on the 29th at the Petersen Galla, the Petersen Museum, the automotive museum, they are auctioning off a Cybertruck. And
how can they auction off something that has not been given out yet?
There was early speculation they were giving away the prototype, which is not legal, and and now a lot of people are still suggesting this might be serial number 1, which I really doubt, because the Tesla policy is whoever gets the money to Elon's hands first gets serial number 1. It's possible this could be them, but I think that somebody has already put the money in Elon's hands. Just
as long as it's a single-digit serial number, that'd be all right.
Or maybe they'll be one of the ones at the party. Who knows? But you'll be getting one, and I've heard of a ridiculous rumor that they think it'll get up to 50 million on auction. Remember the Hummer and the EV1, they only got up to like 2 million for the first one at auction. So I don't expect this one will be that far out of the field.
No, it is for charity, so it's a fundraiser for the Petersen Museum.
Yeah,
and I don't remember what the prices were, but anything called Gala is something I can't afford. Where it was like $17,000 a plate or something.
So it's $1,750 for a seat at the event.
That's much more affordable.
Yeah, just for a table, $17,500. And for premier table is a mere $30,000.
Yeah, and that's even before you can bid on this prize. Right. So, like, obviously, this is a different group of people that we're talking about compared to who's on this show. As to attending a gala and trying to get the one of the first advertised Cybertrucks, it's not happening here. But
right, it'll be hosted by Jay Leno.
Someone's gonna end up, probably dropping in the area of, $200,000 to get this when it's all said and done.
Yep. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if there's another comma there.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple commas, yeah. So at 6 p.m. you get cocktail reception, and at 9 p.m. is entertainment and dancing. The auction happens at 8:30 p.m.
Sounds like fun.
Right before everybody goes to sleep.
Not for me fun, but okay.
The Petersen, I know that they worked closely with Tesla when they had the whole Tesla exhibit, and so I think that it is going to be a low serial number. They have Tesla's full support for this, so that's why they can do this and know that they're going to get a vehicle. It's because somebody high up, Franz or Musk or somebody has said, we totally support you.
Yeah, and worst case is they find somebody in the list, buy theirs off of them, and replace it at regular price, put the rest in the charity.
And of course, it will not be awarded to the winner of the auction before Tesla releases the vehicle, like to the public.
Right. My guess is whoever wins that auction is going to be at the Tesla event and going to be part of the big ceremony for the handover. That's the other thing your money buys you, is you get to be on stage with Musk and have him hand your key card to you.
Right. Unless they've had the event before this. And then the Petersen picks up the car that night.
Yeah.
And then you drive it home from the gala.
When is the gala?
The 29th, I said? Yes.
Oh.
29th.
Okay.
29th of October.
Right. So if they do the event on the 26th, like we just said, that works.
Another breadcrumb clue, possibly.
Right.
For the Cybertruck sweepstakes of when it arrives. Next story. Patrick, are you going to do this one about the... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That's the reason I was late for the show.
That's what happens when you don't show up on time.
Who's hosting the gala, Casey?
Jay Leno.
Wow.
So speaking of Jay Leno,
Leno.
Jay Leno got to drive and tow with the TeslaSemi over at his garage. Franz and the head of the semi program met him at his shop with a high roof semi that we've seen Tesla working on, and we've seen PepsiCo working with, and they had a brilliant interview, and then Jay got to drive it around. People mentioned how he doesn't stay in the lane. Some other people mentioned stay in the lane with a motorcycle. So it's probably because he doesn't have any nice canyons to swoop through or something. I don't know. And then after all of that was through, before the drive started, Jay kicked Franz out. Franz went to go deal with business, and the remaining two went on a nice little drive. And then, right when you think it's over, they have Jay pull up to a flatbed semi trailer, and magic elves come out of the bushes and hook it up.
You can't expect Jay to do that himself.
but allegedly insurance would not. Tesla's insurance wouldn't let him do that. So magic elves came out and hooked up the car, the cab to the trailer. And what was on the back of the trailer? But the low roof semi. They quoted that as some 35 tons for the whole assembly. So if you can figure out what model trailer that is and what rate range it is, we now know what the low roof semi weighs. And Jay had a chance to tow that around, and that was quite fun.
I don't know if Jay has his Class 8 license or whatever.
Actually, with that's an interesting point you make there, Patrick, because with the with the operation of the TeslaSemi, Class 8 license may actually change with the semi, because it's just a single gear. Like this is the operation is as simple as a car, because of course the electric motor is a single gear, and there's no shifting. The vehicle just drives in one gear and goes as hard as you press the accelerator and brakes when you need it.
It even has anti-jackknifing technology with all the motors. It can skid out of it and get you back. So you still have to, hauling a trailer, you have to know what you're doing, or you can really cause some damage to parked cars and street signs and pedestrians. And so you still need some training. But I agree that with the Tesla semi, it's going to be a little bit easier. You don't have to know all the gear jamming.
Some of those Pepsi drivers that have been interviewed had indicated about how much easier it is to drive, because there's just, you still, like you said, you still have to know about the trailer, hooking it up, and all those type of things have to be something that is common. But the ability to drive it has gotten easier. And of course, what driver wouldn't like to have a little bit more assistance on their drive? And that's exactly what you're getting with this vehicle.
Definitely. And the video runs, was it 43 or 45 minutes long? So you get your fill of it. And there's a healthy comment section underneath it with a lot of people.
That's the people on the internet you were trying to correct. Okay.
And they're all still out there, Casey. You've got years of work ahead of you.
You'll see I have a larger number of comments on any one video.
People out there saying Bill Gates was right. This is impossible.
This is all just paper mache. It's not real. Exactly.
Somebody suggested that the low roof was empty, an empty shell. I was like, there's no trailer that would be that heavy and still be useful to anybody. Not as like standard width. Yeah.
Oh man. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, let's get off that topic and on to numbers for quarter 3 of 2023. Of course, Tesla released those numbers quickly as soon as the clock turned to October. And we've got a delivery amount of over 435,000 vehicles in Q3 of 2023. And kind of interesting is that the company produced fewer vehicles than it delivered.
As they told us they would do.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
The analysts didn't care.
435,000 plus vehicles were produced, and again 435,000 were actually delivered. So it's a little bit of a change. That number, I'm sorry, I read it wrong. 430,488 vehicles were produced, and 435,059 were delivered. So about a swing of about 5,000 plus, or about 5,000 is.
We see them do this sometimes. Like every now and then, they'll deliver more cars than they ever built. Or for a whole year, they keep pulling out S's and X's out of their head. Like, where did those come from?
Yeah, like where are they keeping these extra vehicles to be picked up at the end of a quarter? I don't know. It's like, did someone lose where they put these things?
Right.
There's another 1,200 out back. Yeah, it's just out back of the building. There's 1,200 of them just laying around. Go pick those up and sell them.
Well, I mean, sometimes you have 8-10 weeks worth of products available, and so when you have a quarter like this where they deliver more than they've produced, that's going to bring that backlog down. And I think they're at about 6 weeks now that they have, which is great. I mean, it's typical to have more than 90 days in some cases. It's for some car dealerships, they have cars that are there a lot longer. And when they start hitting the 6 month, it's like, okay, we're going to have a sale to get rid of these.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see Tesla bringing down that backlog by selling more than they produced in a quarter.
Yeah, they also like to have all the colors and all the options available for quick pickup on that traditional model as well. And
right. And Tesla's been trying to unwind the last minute delivery stuff and get a more steady pace, and so that is going to require them to do a little bit more of that, having different options in stock and allowing people to order it and pick it up within a week. That means you can't build it to order it, right? You have to anticipate that, and that means you're going to have some in stock.
You know what else will help with that? Not having a paint color at all and no interior options. Well, we've got one. Here you go.
Right. Although even with that, there are a number of motor options. So you can't get away from. You can't just have
having one. A little stock is not a bad situation, especially these days that Tesla is at a point where they've got over 5 million vehicles on the road. Having some stock at different service delivery centers makes a lot of sense for those last minute purchasing decisions to have one available for someone to take off the lot at that moment.
And not selling your demos, not selling your loaners.
Yeah. So that puts the counter at 1.3 million plus 1.353 something million. So we're at a point now where we are just under 500,000 away from Tesla's guidance of 1.8 million vehicles for the total for the year. So here we are rolling into quarter four, and Tesla has got a target of like 460,000 ahead of them to get to that 1.8 million guidance that they provided at the beginning of the year.
Right.
So,
and they can definitely do that. Their best quarter ever was, it was Q2 of this year, and they delivered 466,000. So they can definitely do it. And now that they've had their factory line shut down and revamped, they did all of that in Q3. They should be ready for a kick-ass Q4.
And one other little tidbit that doesn't get mentioned by the analysts because they know so much, they exceeded last year's output by the end of quarter three.
Yeah, there's a great chart in inside EVs where they show the last 5 or 6 years and compare every quarter, and the charts are all up and to the right, up and to the right, up and to the right. Even in this, this was Tesla warned that they weren't going to have a record quarter, but if you compare it, they, like Mark, you just said, deliveries. They had 435,000. Well, last year for Q3, they delivered 344,000. So they're up significantly quarter over quarter or year over year for that quarter. And yet, you can see all the headlines out there. Tesla missed expectations. Okay, where it should be, analyst expectations were completely wrong.
And it's not like we weren't told that some of the lines were shutting down for maintenance in Q3. Like this is common knowledge. We knew that was going to affect the numbers this quarter. But as Patrick has just mentioned, they are gearing up for a show-stopping Q4. So whether you sold the cars in Q3 or Q4, it doesn't really matter.
Right. Patrick
and they have their a poll question for you to put out there, Mark. Can Tesla make $500,000 in Q4?
Yes.
Casey already answered the poll. But I will put the poll out just for fun.
Okay.
Yes.
So maybe we should give them a few options of how many do you think they'll make?
I think they can do it in one factory.
Wow. Yeah, they have not ever hit that in a quarter yet, in a single quarter. So it'll be I'm expecting Q4 to be a record-setting quarter. Now, how high? That's the question.
How high will it be? Yes, exactly.
I'm going to go with whatever Tesla told us to expect.
If you want to make your voice known, please connect to our Twitter at the Tesla Life, and you'll be able to see that poll later tomorrow. It'll be out and available for a couple days.
Yeah, Patrick and I were looking for charts and graphs from Inside EVs all weekend, and then now they're back to their business. But when we were going there, they have descriptions. It's like, come on, guys.
Right? Yeah. Come on, you guys are known for your great charts and graphs. Get going. Come on.
Like I didn't even check first because they usually just do it, and then all of a sudden, like, I'm here just looking like a fool.
Next on the docket, looks like we have another Model Y story. What's going on with this, Patrick?
Okay, I love my Model Y, so I'm going to cover all the Model Y stuff on here. Testmanian says Tesla offers Model Y in the U.S. that could cost under $36,500. What a deal! Okay, so Tesla's now offering the Model Y in the U.S. at a more affordable price. The car can be purchased for less than $36,500 thanks to the $7,500 incentive, and even lower in states that offer additional incentives. So you all know that there was a rear-wheel drive Model Y, and that was discontinued sometime last quarter.
Well, Tesla, that's not that.
Yes, that's true. This is not that. So now there is a new vehicle on there, and the company now offers a rear-wheel drive Model Y that's cheaper than any other available option. The total cost, before discounts, is $43,990. So let's just call that $44K. And this version replaces the discontinued all-wheel drive Model Y, and it's $3,750 cheaper than the all-wheel drive version. And you can do the math on with the credit. That brings it down to the price we've already said twice. This article is a little bit redundant. The last part here. So Tesla says it's going to start delivering this vehicle this month. So you know that it is in production. And then there's the question about what battery is in there. And at the moment, they haven't released that detail, but there's some suspicion that this is a lithium iron phosphate battery. Mm-hmm. So that would account for the reduction in price because those are cheaper than the nickel batteries. Yep. And they have a longer lifespan. We've talked about that. So if it gets you the range that you need, iron batteries all the way, you can charge to full. They don't care as much about heat. And this one has a range of, let's see, the rear-wheel drive Model Y range is 260 miles, which is lower than the discontinued all-wheel drive model that had a range of 279. So that's another hint that it might be the iron battery with a slightly reduced range. But as Casey, you've pointed out that, yes, the range might be slightly reduced, but you can charge to full every day. Whereas, with the nickel batteries, you probably want to charge to 80% or 90%, not to 100%. So the range is lower, but your utilization, you can use all of it a lot more often. So there you go, a new Model Y.
That might be LFP. 060 is a tortoise-like. 6.6 seconds to 60. And yes, that does beat supercars way back in the day.
Yeah, that's funny. I can't even think of that as slow.
Right.
It's slow in the
Prius Prime
spectrum, but
well, if you get a Prius Prime, it's faster. Nobody thinks of a fast Prius.
No.
But again, the it's probably not a software situation. It literally is probably because it's got the LFP batteries. It's got a certain weight and it's only rear wheel drive. But what do you get for that? A great discount, and you can charge it 200% if it's LFP.
Well, we're running out of time here, Casey. Can you squeeze this last story in about the Cybertruck?
So you show me a picture, and I'll talk about it. So in Mexico, there were a pair of Cybertrucks sighted with Cybertruck graffiti wraps, or just straight up graffiti. I can't tell. And the typical RC badging on them. And then in the video that they see, it's narrated in Spanish, Mexican Spanish. And so the first vehicle we see has the Starlink dish on top, and the second vehicle that we see, the one with the green, is the one with the Starlink dish, the RV one, the flat mount. The second one has what appears to be roof racks on the back. And it passes over like in the items in the background. You can see that it looks like kind of like a bigger version of the Model 3 rack, which is really cool.
Yeah, so there's going to be so many accessories.
This was spotted in Baja, California.
Yeah.
So again, Cybertruck's out and about with the RC models.
Yeah. And the fact that it's on the truck now, that tells you they're probably going to have that accessory pretty much ready to go after you get your truck.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Drive around with the Starlink. That's a different premium connectivity package.
Right. Especially for how much they charge to use it above 10 miles an hour. You have to be part of the premium data bucket. And I think that starts at $250 a month.
And of course, with the RC version out there, they're looking to collect as much data as they can. That's why they're out there in different places doing different things. So having a constant high-speed internet connection is probably something that is required so they can get their work done.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is just data collection on an RC that they wanted until they rig this up, or if that's going to be a real option available for customers.
Especially since it's not centered. But the other cool thing is that it could also be catching the data from the other RC as well. They're driving close enough in Wi-Fi range.
Right. It could have a Wi-Fi hotspot. It's
yeah, exactly. Didn't think of that.
Yeah. So June was asking about our companion show.
Yeah. So what drives this? It's Russell's show. He's got some stuff going on, so it's on a bit of a hiatus. I don't know what the plan is, but yeah, you haven't been missing it. You haven't been holding them. Yeah.
Yeah. So Russell, hopefully we'll get back to regular shows in the near future. But yeah, June, you haven't missed anything. It's just been on a short hiatus, we hope. So we will see some shows in the future. With that, let's wrap her up today. Casey, any shout-outs?
Yeah. So on Sundays, you can catch us over at youtube.com/Casey Green and talk about some more of this stuff, as well as some stuff that might not be exclusively Tesla. You see this little one.
This one's a little happier now.
Yay.
It's this way. And yeah, and then
the smile.
Yeah. Elbow, wrist. Princess wave.
Very good. Patrick, what do you got for shout outs at the end of the show?
Yes, as always, I'm with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org. And if you go to /events, you can see what stuff we've got going on, like our National Drive Electric. Oh, look at that cool toy. Yeah. Nice. Yes, and I blog occasionally at carswithcords.net. The story that I have up there right now, so we were just talking about used Teslas. So if you're going to sell your Tesla, what do you need to do before you part with it? And it's not exactly the same as other cars. There's a couple things you need to know. And so since I just had to go through that, trading in the Model X, I was like, hey, other Tesla owners might want to hear this. So check it out, carsreporters.com. And I called it Selling the Dream, Parting Ways with the Tesla.
Selling the dream.
You have it on your phone when you go to give up the key cards, or in my case, the keys.
Right.
And just a
all
quick
that stuff.
Sorry about that. Just a quick shout out to June C, JT24, not Jeff. We've got Kenny. We've got Bussin' Boy. All joined us today in the chat room. Thanks very much for being there. Appreciate your comments throughout the show. And if you haven't followed us already through the week, follow us at The Tesla Life on Twitter and The Tesla Life #1 in Facebook. And we will get together next Wednesday and find out what's happening in the Tesla Life.
Future free from fossil fuels.
Got it in.